Well, I mean, this is a great question because it's hard for me to specifically answer this one because we started off as a cloud-based teleport, right? We had software that stood between the actual ground site or teleport and the customer. They don't interact with the actual hardware at the ground site. They receive data in the cloud. So we get the data to the cloud and they receive it. And that includes commanding and live streaming, etc. So I am not aware of what it was like before, but I can speak to where I would want it to head. When we first started, we really wanted a system that mostly lived in the cloud. And the easiest way to do that would be to digitize the radio frequencies, and the rest of it, the modems, the FEPs, all lived in the cloud. That wasn't that doable 6 years ago. And it is now for the lower frequency bands, S-band, but for the high data rate bands, X-band and above, it's still very difficult, and you need a 10 gigabit per second pipe to your ground site. I don't know the old business model and whether or not the teleports were purchasing modems and FEPs and additional equipment. If they were purchasing them before and leasing them to the satellite owners or the customers, then that source of revenue definitely does go away. But without this change to moving things virtually and into the cloud, there wouldn't be as much interest in launching satellites into space and collecting data, because space would be less accessible and it would require more money to make a space or satellite startup. So though there is potentially some revenue that is being removed by hardware moving to software in the cloud or virtualization, the teleport operators are having access to more clients or more customers. And that's really what needs to happen. That's why I say they need to get to an understanding of the cloud and who they're going to integrate with, why they're going to integrate, to bring the greatest source of revenue or greater sources of revenue to them. So again, money may be going away in the form of perhaps some leasing or hardware normally provided. It's shifting to the cloud. Customers can do it their way. And the long-term trend is that we will have modems and that are generally agnostic that live in the cloud. You will likely not need to worry about the difference between different modem vendors, Emergent, RT Logic, or Kratos, Zodiac, etc. And this cloud will enable the mixing and matching of different providers with a very standard RF signal coming out of the ground sites. So that is really important to understand about where we're headed, so that the teleport operators can maximize their revenue by getting on board with this as soon as possible. If they don't understand it, they will be left to the wayside.